Hello, cooking dinner. Thought you might want to join me. I don't really like tofu. We've covered that. But I've got some in the fridge and I need to use it up. I purchased it to make a cheese and then I just never made it. It's not that I don't make cheese with it, I just never got around to making it. It's something I make periodically, and so it's been sitting in the fridge too long. So I'm going to pull it out and we'll do something with it for dinner. Now I have already squeezed it out pretty good. This is the container. And you can sit it in a plate with some paper towels and put something heavy on it and it will take most of the water out. And I have been told that if you freeze it first and then defrost it, it'll do a little better. The texture won't be quite as bad. So that's what I've done. Let me scooch over just a little bit. Just because you're kind of looking at the cabinet there. Sorry. See what I can do. There we go. So as you can see, I've got some onions in the skillet with a little bit of water, and they're cooking. And they're just about translucent now. So I'm going to add some sliced mushrooms, and I've already washed these. And I didn't take all of the wrapper off because I don't intend to use all of them. Just going to use about half of this little carton, okay? And then the rest can stay. And then I have chopped up one green bell pepper and one yellow bell pepper. And remember what I said, that I like to cook the rainbow. I like to get as many colors in my dish as I can. And the reason for that is each vegetable of a different color is going to have a different set of nutrients. So if we eat the rainbow, we will get a well-balanced diet. I also try to have beans every day and a grain every day, and sometimes that's just my oats in the morning, and sometimes it's also a rice at night. Because we need to make sure that we get all of our protein. So that's why we get our beans, and lots of iron in that as well. Mushrooms are high in vitamin D, which is something I am always lacking. Don't believe that myth that if you have red hair, you're high in vitamin D. That isn't always true. And then what I'm going to do, once this cooks just a little bit more, is take this tofu and just crumble it up in here. Now, this is going to be a multi-dimensional dish because I've got all my vegetables here. And then earlier in my Instant Pot, I cooked some rice. And so I'm going to add the rice as well. And then right now, sitting over in the Instant Pot, is some black beans with a can of crushed tomatoes that I cooked as well. And that's been sitting on low. There we are. You can see it back there. So I'm thinking to have the beans and tomatoes off to the side. And that will give, again, more colors and more nutrients to this dinner. So we've got veggies, rice, and beans. So a grain, and then our protein, then our vegetables. And then of course the tofu is going to add a lot more protein as well. So you could skip the beans if you didn't want to have them. But since I made them already, we'll add them in. Okay, then I'm just going to take this tofu and I'm going to crumble it. And see the texture of this since it's been frozen and then defrosted? It's a little bit different. I'm just going to crumble the whole thing in here. And I keep tofu in the freezer. We don't normally have it for dinner. I keep it there for a cheddar cheese that I make, a sliceable cheese. And that's what this was supposed to be for, and it just didn't happen. I've been busy with other things. Oh goodness. The babies are going to decide that this is playtime, I think. Because, you know, they like to cause trouble when I'm filming. Sorry this is taking so long, but I want to get it nice and small. I think I'm only going to use half of it because I think the whole block would be just too much for this dish. So you got to kind of play it by ear when you're cooking and just look at what you've got. And don't worry about measurements or what you thought you were going to do. Do what looks right. So I'm going to throw in some onion powder. A little bit of garlic powder as well. And then I've got some low sodium soy sauce. And I'm going to drizzle that through. And that was a couple tablespoons there over the top. You can see how it colored tofu. And then this is a really nice balsamic glaze. And it's really, really thick. Can you see? I'm going to tip that up and let you see it go down. It's really thick. And it gives a really nice flavor. Remember that regular tofu, unlike my chickpea tofu, doesn't have any flavor. So we've really got to add flavor to it. And this glaze coming out looks like chocolate syrup, doesn't it? Reminds me of a chocolate sauce. Doesn't taste like a chocolate sauce, thank goodness. And I'm just drizzling that all through. Because we've got to give that tofu a flavor, or it won't have any. And show you that close up so that you can see about how much is on there. That way when you make it, you'll know to make yours look like mine, since we didn't measure any of that. We just squeezed. And we just really want this to heat through. We want our peppers to be a little al dente, so they're nice and crisp. Not too soggy. The mushrooms are nice and done, and of course the onions are nice and done because we did those first. Now, see the color of that. And that color, that dark color, is from those sauces. Then I'm going to take some of this rice that I made earlier, and we'll put some of that in. And my thinking is, because the family doesn't like tofu either, is that if I disguise it in the rice, they won't realize it's there. Now, when you're a mom or a grandmom, you have to hide things that are good for the children. And let's face it, the husband. You have to hide it in there. Because if they don't know it's there, they can't complain about it. And this is 2 cups of rice cooked. Not 2 cups once it's done, but 2 cups of dry rice that was cooked. And this is how much it gave me. And in the Instant Pot, if you have one, it's really good to batch cook and cook things up ahead of time. And if I hadn't used this tonight, it would have just gone in the refrigerator and been used another day. And I needed rice for a recipe. I was making veggie burgers this morning, and I put rice in them. And so I actually made 3 cups of rice and then used 1 cup in the veggie burgers. And then that left me 2 cups left. So I've still got some left. I didn't use that whole bowl. And I'll just put the lid on this. This will go in the fridge and it'll be used in something else. Always try to keep foods prepared ahead of time, because then it makes throwing together a dinner really easy. If you've got beans and rice and potatoes already cooked, then you just dig through and see whatever fresh veggies you've got to go with it. Throw it all together. Doesn't that look nice? So that's all done. Now let me get some of these black beans out and I'll show you how that's going to go in together. That's 2 ladles full of these black beans. And I just cooked black beans with 1 can of crushed tomatoes. And I'm just putting it in there. I'm going to turn that down on low so that it doesn't stick, because everything in there is heated through. And there we are. They'll never know there's tofu in it. Sneaky, sneaky mom. Have a good night, guys.